Hello, my name is Justin Horton, and the name of the book I am going to read is The Talking Eggs. And I chose this book mainly because I seen on the cover of this book there were 2 awards this has received. One of which was the Courageous Guy King Award. So it kind of caught my interest. So I shall begin reading this book. I know it's a folk tale book, so let me begin. Back in the old days, there was a widow with 2 daughters named Rose and Blanche. They lived on a farm so poor it looked like the tail end of bad luck. They raised a few chickens, some beans, and a little cotton just to get by. Rose, the older sister, was cross and mean and didn't know beans from birds' eggs. Blanche was sweet and kind and sharp as 40 crickets. But their mother liked Rose the best because they were alike as 2 peas in a pod. Bad-tempered, sharp-tongued, and always putting on airs. The mother made Blanche do all the work around the place. She had to iron the clothes each morning using an iron field of hot coals, chop cotton in the afternoon, and string beans for the supper. While she'd be doing these chores, her mama and sister would sit by side on rocking chairs on a shady porch, fanning themselves and talking foolishness about getting rich and moving to the city. Where would they go to all these fancy balls wearing train dresses, and lots of jewels? One hot day, the mother sent Blanche to the well to fetch a bucket of water. When the girl got there, she found an old woman wrapped in a raggedy black shawl near fainting with the heat. "Please, child, give me a sip of water," the old woman said. "I'm about to die of thirst." "Yes, auntie," said Blanche, rinsing out her bucket and dipping up some clean, cool well water. Drink what you need." "Thank you, child," said the old woman when she'd taken swallow after swallow of water. "You got a spirit to do right in your soul. God is going to bless you one day." Then she walked away down the path that led to the deep woods. When Blanche got back to the cabin, her mother and sister hollered at her for taking so long. "This water's so warm, it's near boiling," shouted Rose, and she dumped the bucket out of the porch. "Here's your poor sister's near dying for a drop of cool water," her mother screamed, "and you can't even bring her a little thing." Then the 2 of them scolded and hit Blanche until the frightened girl ran away in the woods. She began to cry since she didn't have anywhere to go, and she was scared to go home. Suddenly, around a bend in the path came the old woman in a raggedy black shawl. When she saw Blanche, she asked kindly, "What made you cry so, you poor child?" "Mama and Sister Rose lit into me for something that wasn't my fault," said Blanche, rubbing tears off her cheek. "Now I'm afraid to go home." "Hush, child. Stop your crying. Come on home with me. I'll give you supper and a clean bed. But you got to promise me you won't laugh at anything else." Blanche gave her word of honor that she wouldn't laugh. Then the old woman took her by the hand and led her deep into the backwoods. As they walked along the narrow path, bramble bushes and tree branches opened wide in front of them and closed up behind them. Soon they came to the old woman's troubled-down shack. A cow with 2 heads and horns like corkscrews peered over a fence at Blanche and brayed like a mule. She reckoned it was a pretty strange sight, but she didn't say anything, not wanting to hurt the old woman's feelings. Next, she saw that the yard in front of the cabin was filled with chickens of every color. Some were hopping on 1 leg and some running on 3 or 4 or even more. These chickens didn't cluck, but they whistled like mockingbirds. But strange as all this was, Blanche stuck by her promise not to laugh. When they got inside the cabin, the old woman said, "Light the fire there, child, and cook us some supper." So Blanche fetched kindly from the wood pile outside the back door. The old woman sat down near the fireplace and took off her head. She set it on her knees like a pumpkin. First she combed out her gray hair, then she plaited it into 2 long braids. Blanche got pretty scared at this, but the woman had been nothing but kind to her, so she just sat by the fireplace. After a bit, the old woman put her head back on her shoulders and looked at herself in a silver mirror nailed to the cabin wall. She said, nothing? And that's better. Then she gave Blanche an old beef bone and said, put this in a pot for supper. Now Blanche was near starving and the bone looked like a pretty sad meal for the two of them, but she did what the old woman said. Shall I boil you up the soup for you, auntie? She asked. Look at that pot, child, the old woman said, laughing. The pot was filled with thick stew bubbling away. Next, the woman gave Blanche only 1 grain of rice and told her to grind it in the stone mortar. Feeling mighty foolish, Blanche began to pound the grain with the heavy stone pestle. In a moment, the mortar was overflowing with rice. When they had finished